can pull another amazing series like this. I mean, this team, they're always around. We see them quite a bit. They've been to BlizzCon numerous times with this roster, and I feel like they're kind of always the underdog, but they're always here. They're always consistent. They're definitely a team that we need to be watching out for, and I feel like right now, Zico, they are starting to ramp up.
Absolutely, and this is the time to do it. I mean, Unitas, I'm pretty sure this is the deepest run they've had. I think this is their first championship Sunday all season. And now, I mean, they already bested OTK. If they can best Method NA, they might actually be a contender here. And they are going to be leading with the Assassination Holy Priest Fire Mage. They're going up against a Mage Warrior Paladin. So definitely not the easiest matchup for them, but it is a winnable matchup here for Unitas. I'm super stoked to see what these guys can do here. The gates are about to open. Game number 1 on Nagrand Arena. This is an elimination match. Whoever loses here gets knocked out, but both of these teams are qualified for the circuit. So, and obviously Method NA, they're the teams that have won every single tournament so far in NA, so they definitely want to go for that 4 wins in a row. Let's see if they can pull it off here, Sid.
They're starting their engagement on Drake here, but not finding too much damage, and Brain just uses a Blessing of Protection to remove Blind. Maybe they're going to make a swap on Forbearance. They've held on to a lot of cooldowns. They Mind Control Drake. Mind Control is a very important tool on the Holy Priest, because if you get interrupted, you can still bomb in really big heals. You've also got access to Chastise. Here's the swap on Forbearance. They want to take down the Paladin. Will they be able to overpower Brain in this moment? They're going all out with Combustion and Vendetta, but Brain totally blocks them. Drake with a well-timed intervene, and they shut that down real quick.
Yeah, Intervene tends to do that against Rogue Mage. If they don't get the cross crowd control on Drake, he will be able to basically play a really solid defender for the rest of his team. Interrupt now on CMD. I would say for a Method NA, it's all about blocking these goes, just trying to survive, maybe setting up something, but hopefully just trying to out-mana. Drake actually under a lot of pressure right now with the Polymorph onto Brain. Unitas looking to get aggressive early on. Combustion comes in from Cerulean, though. Onto CMD. Can he take him down? He's just so incredibly low, looking for Dragon's Breath. Potentially this could be the Cauterize. Drake is all over him. Just line of sighting, doing the best he can, shifting power, trying to get back on top of Oxygen. And it looks like he will be able to hold on. Unbelievable. He didn't have to use the Cauterize there. Good positioning. Allows him to hold on to that cooldown.
Drake charging.
Stuff. And we're going to see here if they can actually get another setup here. Where are the openings for the Rogue Mage Priest? So far, Method NA have been able to just shut down basically every single kill attempt here. And CMD does have his Combustion here, so let's see if he can actually get something going with that. Drake gets Blessing of Protection here, and it looks like they're about to set something up here. CMD going for some polymorphs, gets interrupted. Oxygen now gets caught up in a polymorph. CMD in a lot of trouble here. Could be his Ice Block, and he's got to use it. Shattering Throw comes out. No Shadowy Duel available for that. He gets caught, and they dispel it. CMD on the run here, barely surviving. Oxygen barely scraping by here with one hit, but he gets caught up in a Hammer of Justice. CMD in so much trouble. He's trying to turn fire with fire here, but it is Drake who's going to be proccing that Wild Seed. There's the Smoke Bomb to protect the Seed, but is it going to be enough? Here's the question. I don't know if it's going to be enough, actually. It looks like CMD might survive here. He blinks out. He actually comes back. Drake on low HP is going to trade out the Sacrifice to die by the sword. The Vendetta has been popped as well. Brain using his Trinket and Sacrifice, and I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here. I've seen this movie before where somebody gets procced into a seed and then reses and forces everything, man. Or Sid.
Yeah.
This one not gonna have the same ending. not the same ending this time around.
It's like reading one of those novels where you can kind of choose your ending. Which direction do you want to go? And sometimes this is the way it plays out. You get in the seed, you get so happy you're able to survive, but at the end of it all, you just get dropped again. And Method NA, I feel like in this one, it showed a lot of dominance. There was a decent amount of pressure on Drake throughout the game, but for the most part, they always had cooldowns to respond with, and when they weren't going after Drake, Drake was always there to back up his team, and I feel like this looked like a really, really good matchup for them.
Sometimes, I think Method NA saw your tweet, Ben, with the weak aura.
Sometimes Humpty Dumpty fell down here. They put him back together, but then he fell down again, and they just left him. They couldn't put him back together again. So they almost killed Drake, though, which was very surprising. Brain was not having any of it. He knew exactly what the Assassination Rogue could do, and if he wasn't prepared for it, or maybe was overconfident into this composition, Vendetta can just immediately kill a target. So I think it was really well done by Method NA to not sort of under-respond to the Vendetta both times that it was used by Aiden. They traded effectively, and they got good setups and played a standard match. So now if I'm the opposing team, I'm wondering if they are going to be... If I'm Unitas, I'm wondering if they're going to be running Discipline Priest at all, and go back to normal Rogue Mage Priest, Subtlety Rogue, Discipline Priest, Fire Mage. That's the composition that we saw the Process team again. Trust the Process, be able to beat Method NA with. Team. I call them Process team. I don't know why. I shortened Trust the Process to the Process team. It's one less. It's one less word. I don't know why, but they could do that. They could just do Dispriest sub Fire. That has beaten them.
What specifically would they be gaining from that if they were to switch to Disc?
I mean, it's Dark Archangel for the Subtlety Rogue one shot. So you run like a one dance build, and then you just go after the warrior when they trinket. You go after anyone once they've trinketed or used their immunity, and then just shadowy duel them and 1v1 them with Dark Archangel and a meteor from the Fire Mage through the Shadow Realm. Meteor is able to enter the Shadow Realm as an AoE, so I wonder, or if they'll just play the same matchup. Their strategy seemed to be pretty straightforward, though, is attack warrior because we don't want to deal with intervene. If Paladin does something, we might go on Paladin. But if they go warrior, then it means that the Holy Priest is just dealing with a mage the whole game. And I'm not sure if that'll work. I actually would much rather them attack Cerealium, DB Sheep Brain, and Chastise Stun the warrior on the go, and then mind control the warrior. And then you've got all three of them under control. Oxygen doesn't have to deal with just Cerealium chasing him around. I think that would be a better tactic overall. That's what they used yesterday. That's the tactic they used into OTK, was that triple crowd control. Chastise mind control one target, DB Sheep the healer, kidney shot the target you're attacking. It's really clean. You don't have to. It's not overcomplicated. Everybody knows their job. They can do their job, and you remove all three enemy players, so it's effective.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they can do here. Game number 2, going to be sticking with that composition, though, on both sides of the team. But like Sid was saying, Unitas not swaying from that comp for the first game. Getting into game number 2 pretty shortly here, heading into Ashermane's Fall as well. Let's see if Unitas can tie this one up, or is Method NA going to put themselves on match point for the first series of the day in the North American region.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. Unitas, they did play against OTK yesterday, but one of the main differences is OTK was playing with the Windwalker Monk, who's actually reasonably vulnerable in this matchup. The Warrior going to be a little bit more durable, but yeah, we are going to be remaking this really, really quickly. The gates didn't open, so the players can, if anything goes wrong, leave and rejoin the game, no problem at all. But yeah, I feel like the Warrior is just so good into what the Rogue is bringing. But I do agree with you. I feel like they could use the Holy Priest for cross-crowd control. They just have to do it really cleanly. On the flip side, though, if Method NA, they rotate properly, like they're using their Gladiator's Medallion at the right time, or Cerealium can somehow avoid the Rogue and get like a Dragon's Breath on the mind control, then all of a sudden Drake can back them up. So it is a little bit difficult to pull off, but still, I think it is a decent option for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have the opportunity to switch this up too as well. If they if they do lose this second game on the side of Unitas, they have one more opportunity there. So, and they will have the advantage of having that draft to their advantage. Since they did lose, they would have lost that, and they can pick their map, and they don't have to blind lock their composition. So they can still turn it around here. And like we said before, they sent OTK out of the tournament. That's a really good team. So now they're kind of facing another really good team here in the form of Method NA. So this team is capable of quite a bit here, so I'm curious to see what they can do with this composition. It also feels like this team, Unitas, have we seen them change their composition really at all, but other than them switching between Holy Priest and Disc Priest? It seems like they're just always playing Rogue Mage.
I think they're kind of ride and die with Rogue Mage. I mean, they have Yoski in the wings, but usually he's kind of like Jelly Beans, just kind of hangs out on the bench most of the time.
Yeah, well.
I like Yosk and Jelly Beans.
I do too. Good players, but you don't get to see him that much, unfortunately. But it's going to be game number 2 here. Now they are ready to go, heading into Ashermane's Fall.
So no sap. That's already kind of a disadvantage here. They set up crowd control. They're going after the mage, but they don't get the mind control. They stun Drake, but not the mind control, which means Intervene will stabilize Ceralium. Drake intercepts the incoming crowd control, pinning CMD with that Spirit Bastion. CMD pre-alter times a lot of that damage. Oxygen trying to preempt some damage as well with the Divine Hymn, but not finding too much healing at the moment. Brain is charging in. Oxygen pre-fades. I think Brain faked out the fade, but he actually gets Psychic Screamed. Good opportunity to capitalize on, but not able to find it. They're going to stun Drake up here. They're going to silence Ceralium. They're waiting to go for the kidney shot. This is combustion up on Ceralium at the moment. He's a very scary threat. They stun CMD. They're going to Blade Storm immune, try and get back on target here. They've got a huge mana advantage already. I mean, that's already significant. On top of momentum, they counterspell Oxygen. CMD down to 20% and getting blasted out here. Looking to proc that Cauterize. They proc the Guardian from Oxygen. They're pushing for more. They get the block. They're shattering the block. This game's completely out of control.
This is a complete disaster here. A little bit of pressure on Ceralium, but Brain still has his Divine Shield. Oxygen, of course, he's playing Relentless, and he's not a Paladin, so he has no crowd control breakers whatsoever. He's extended crowd control chains. CMD might just get dropped. That's it. That's a pod. Can they keep it alive, or will they drop the seed? They scramble the egg, and I mean, that's one of the problems with the build Oxygen is playing right now. When you're Relentless and you're not playing a Paladin, you have no crowd control. So when Brain has Hammer of Justice, he has the Blinding Light. That's guaranteed CC that they can just go super aggressive on, and it can be really difficult for CMD to survive that by himself. And I mean, you got to feel for him, but Method NA really showing dominance in this game too. That was even more one-sided than the first.
Well, what's up with the Night Elf Relentless? At least if you go Human Relentless, you can get out of a Hodge or like a Stormbolt or something, but he went for the Night Elf Relentless, so he actually has no way out of anything. And I mean, this is the disaster opener that we kind of saw here. And CMD gets forced into the ice block here in a second. Oxygen in the blind. CMD forced into the ice block there. Brain trinkets out of the blind. Gets the Hammer of Justice. And more damage here onto CMD. Oxygen can finally play his character a little bit. Gets a heal here onto CMD. And then Ceralium now getting a bit of damage there with the Fireball. There is the,
He's got Poly. He's got the Shimmer Polymorph as soon as Oxygen was in line of sight. There's no Fade, there's no Shadow or Death, nothing. And
Spear.
As a result, it's just nothing at all. No Shadow Meld. Just get rid of the Night Elf, put on a Trinket, and I feel like it's going to go a lot better because, yeah, I mean, all that instant crowd control, basically you have to like preemptively outplay it to avoid it, which is unrealistic because the Brain can just kind of bait, move in and out, and eventually you're going to have to make a preemptive play. And if you don't, you're in that crowd control. So it's a rough spot to be. And yeah, I think at this point they should change something up. At the very least, the Trinket. If they don't, then I think Method NA is going to walk away with this one easily.
What else can they change up, though, really, if they don't want to change off this composition? I don't think we've seen them do that yet in Shadowlands.
Well, I think there's still some options. I mean, there's specs that they can change. They can play Discipline if they want to. You can play Frost Mage if they're feeling really crazy. Don't recommend it for sure, but they could go to play Subtlety again. Quite often, Subtlety rogues that don't. I mean, there's a reason why we see Peekaboo play Assassination. It's because they don't really want to play Subtlety into an Arms Warrior. Intervene is just such a powerful counter to the setups that you have available. So I think it's likely we do see the Assassination. The only thing I could realistically see is Oxygen either number 1, going Discipline, or number 2, play Holy, but switch your Trinket because you need it to keep CMD alive.
Interesting as well that Method NA, Unitas has locked in Imperium Domain, but we're seeing Method NA use this full timer right now, only 10 seconds left. I wonder what they're discussing here, if they want to just try something new for fun. Nope, they're going to lock in that same comp, but they used the full timer to do it. Now we're going to be seeing Unitas respond here. Imperium Domain will be the map. I think this is the first time we've seen it this weekend in a couple of cups this week, at least, so we've seen it not too often lately.
Yeah, I think it's the first time this weekend.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder why. Like, I actually like this map better than Ashamain. I feel like you can like pull really far off to the side to be able to drink, and smaller pillars lets you get crowd control a bit easier if you're more crowd control based team. I personally like this one. The only thing I don't like is the brightness. It's way too bright. Other than that, this actually, I would debate if this is my favorite map at the moment for myself personally. But It's just it's an interesting take on a standard map. Like, it's basically Nagrand, right? It's 4 pillars and a box, but it's got a couple weird dimensions, like the outsides are pulled a little further back, extremely back on the entrance room, so it leaves a little bit more variance. I don't know. I like the layout. If I had a brightness knob for it, I would say it's my favorite map.
You just solve that with some blue light filtering glasses, and then you'd be good to go. I know I feel like I need them too when I'm looking at this map, but it's game number 3 here. Method NA only needing to win this next game to send Unitas out of this tournament because it is lower bracket right now. It's game number 3 on Imperium Domain, Ben.
They should have like the little owl guys offer you the inky potions in the starter room if you want it. That'd be cool. All right, Method NA. Yeah, Method NA 1 away here, closing this out against Unitas. Unitas has had a phenomenal showing, making top 4 this 4th cup, and really showing signs of life, but they may have met their match going up against the champs right now. Method NA showing dominance. Let's see what Unitas does. How are they going to play this different? Trinket, okay, so I like that. Oxygen is playing the Gladiator's Medallion now. He can actually break out of that crowd control. They won't fall so far behind. Big setup here on Drake. Looks like Brain with no crowd control on him. She'll be able to power through with the sacrifice. He just trades the sacrifice. It was a decent amount of damage coming in. That was CMD. Swap 2 might just get dropped, and Trinket vanishes at 2% health. Now swap over onto Brain. Both these teams just going crazy at the beginning of this one.
But Brain actually used his human racial right to open up. He might just set it up here himself. There it is. Sheep on Cerulean. Ring of Frost out of the Dragon's Breath onto Brain. But there's a gap there. Dispels the Sheep onto Cerulean. They do get the Ring of Frost, though, which is the most important thing. They get a lot of damage here onto CMD as well as onto Drake. Aiden just opening up with the stun and then immediately going for a re-stealth here. And he's just playing around that stealth all the time here. Every single time he has that stun DR. And he's not afraid to sit in stealth for long periods of time. And they've had enough. They're going to be punishing Oxygen here with a big swap here. Restun into another. And that is going to be it right there. They had enough of Aiden just sitting around in stealth doing nothing. And they decided, okay, let's pull the trigger here. Stun up Oxygen into a Stormbolt. And they're able to take him down. And I mean, Method NA, this is why they are the reigning cup champions. They're just finding these win conditions all the time and executing so well.
That just looked easy. Like, that's how I thought yesterday was gonna go. but like they were more than ready for the Holy Priest variant here.
Oh, I'm never doubting that team again, Unitas, after yesterday. That was
You're lucky you don't have to eat your foot today. They didn't win.
It's true. You're right. I mean, I am bummed. I always like seeing Unitas play. They're always fun to watch, but that is going to be the end of them for this tournament. Method NA will be moving forward in the lower bracket. They're going to face off against the winner of the next series.